Welcome back to Desert Days, and I am here with Mr. Ioannis Skiotes. Welcome.
Hey, hi, Kathy. Glad to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Such a pleasure, such a pleasure. It's been so long since I've seen you.
It's been a while.
And how have you been?
I've been good. Feeling good and, hanging in there, day by day.
Yes. You know what? I've been wanting to have you on this show because I know how talented that you are.
You're kind. You're pretty and you're kind.
No, I know that you are. We worked on a stage play together that I want to talk about a little later in our segment. But what I want to ask you first is, when did you decide that you wanted to be a screenwriter?
That's I'm going to give you kind of a long answer because it's a long road. The only thing I did well my whole life is write. Everything else, I basically screwed it up. So, I always stuck with writing. But when I was a little boy, I would pick up games and come home and write about them like they're the Super Bowl. We're talking like third, fourth grade, that kind of stuff. In sixth grade, I met my teacher, Mr. James Tallarico, who we're Facebook friends to this day. And he told me, "You're good at writing, keep with it." And I didn't really think much about it. And so then when I got to Joliet Community College, I took a creative writing course with John Stobert. He said, "You ought to think about writing for a career." But by then, my mother passed and I was taking care of my dad, and I was just thinking about a job, We were working poor. We grew up working poor. Means you got a job, but you're below the poverty line. So I wasn't really thinking about career. And then there's this lady, Mrs. Callahan. She was my English teacher at community college. I went to visit her office. She wasn't there. So I was looking at her office. I seen this book on her shelf, screenwriting. So I always liked movies. So I took the book, and she wasn't there, so I left. And I thumbed through it. I said, "Wow, man, there's more white on this page than black ink. Hell, I could do this." And so I started looking more into it. And a couple months later, I brought the book back, and she knew the day I took it. And so I just started pursuing it from there. And I had a mentor from LA. He had a screenwriting school. It was very popular. At the time, it was behind UCLA and USC. And so I learned a lot from him. And then I just started getting into it and evolving. And it's the only form of writing I really like. So I just stuck with it.
Where'd you grow up at?
Joliet, south of Chicago.
Okay.
35 miles south.
Okay.
Known for the prisons. Grew up with a lot of those convicts, too. Nutty guys that went to Marion, where Gotti went, Menard, Stateville. It's like, whoa, they're in my neighborhood committing all these kind of crimes. And yes, I was scared. I'm no macho man. I was scared. These guys are 16 years old and they're driving cars to 8th grade. It's like, crazy place.
You call yourself a teacher. Tell us about this.
Teaching's the hardest job you'll ever love. I've been teaching in the public schools, high schools, for 22 years. Great majority of them are minority students, and low income, high at risk. But a lot of them are good kids. They just need some direction. But, I taught all kinds of various subjects. But I also teach screenwriting. I taught at the community college. I teach privately screenwriting. And that's my passion as far as teaching goes. And let me tell you, when you're teaching and a student or a client grasp a concept, that's magic. For the instructor, that's magic. And I'll give you a good example. There's this woman from Chicagoland, it stuck with me because she's from near Joliet, and her name was Amy Taylor, like that fashion stuff. And she won Best Screenplay at a Phoenix Film Festival.
Oh, okay.
And they hired me to mentor her on the rewrite. So I was working with Amy, a very talented writer. She wrote this rom-com that every page was dripping Chicago. If you're from Chicagoland and you read any page on this script, that's Chicago. And I was like awed, okay? And so when I was helping her, I noticed that Amy couldn't grasp the technique of beginning late and ending early. That's how you do scene construction.
Okay.
That way you get the meat of the scene. And and she's hard-headed. She didn't want to really listen to me, but I just kept working with her, keep working. You see the gain, you see some of the gain, then she got it. And I get goosebumps thinking about it. And when that happens with the writer that you're helping, I'm telling you, Kathy, it don't get better than that as far as instruction goes. That's heaven right there.
That's awesome. As a screenwriter, where do you pull from for your stories?
Let me pull this out, because I know you're going to ask that. This is real important for writers. I kid you not. Because see, when I taught, writers said, "Oh, I don't have an idea," or "Oh, I hit a wall." Unless I hit a wall on my own, I've never had writer's block in my life. Okay, because my mentor taught me there's stories everywhere. Everywhere. You just got to think where. Like, If Loving You Is Wrong. Mega hit song, high concept. Fatal Attraction meets Disclosure in the movie industry, or R&B industry. Blue Rose, a guy from Atlanta, producer, calls me. He wants me to analyze this sex trafficking script. And I said, "Hey, my man, I don't want to be negative, but this thing's horrible." I said, "I can do better than this." And so I wrote this script, Blue Rose, which is a symbol for women who survive sex trafficking. And it's about this young girl. She's a singer. Her mother was her mentor. And this horrible international ring abducts her. She uses her wits, manages to escape, and gets back on that stage with her mom playing the piano. And it goes on. Joliet, where I'm from, met this guy out here at the casino. And from my hometown. And he's got these articles. I mean, they're in pristine condition. We're talking 40s and 50s newspaper articles. I'm like, holy cow, 40s and 50s. I wasn't even born in the 40s. And so, it's all about his mom, and I see this other character in there. This is true story stuff. And she's a woman reporter who brings down the outfit. I grew up in Joliet. We're talking Al Capone disciples. Okay, holy cow, this woman reporter. Imagine that. In the 50s, women weren't allowed to do business stuff, and she takes on the mob because they killed her mentor. And then, Boulevard of Broken Dreams. Here I am in my friend's house. He's an actor in Orlando. So I go see him in Orlando. He's out working that day on the set. So I'm just sitting in his house. And he's got this picture on the wall. Helmween, famous painting. Elvis is serving behind the diner bar. He's serving James Dean, Humphrey Bogart, and Marilyn Monroe. And so I'm looking at it. And I noticed the point of view of that picture is outside Philly's Diner. Okay, so who's outside Philly's Diner? So I think of another movie star, Paul Newman and Sal Mineo. They're in the car, okay? And they come from somebody up there likes me, the original Rocky, the story of Rocky Graziano, okay? And so I'm thinking, okay, what are they doing? Well, Sal Mineo pulls out a gun. "Hey, Rock, let's go in there and rob them. There's only 4 people in there. Let's go rob them." And Newman says, "You got the wrong weapon." He pulls a Polaroid camera underneath the seat, and they go in, take that famous photo, have all of them sign it, right? And then they leave, And Romulo says, "Oh, Rocky, man, I could have robbed them." Hey, we already did. They sold the picture for millions. And, I got more. I'll tell you some more. Last Sacrifice. Everybody loves horror. This town's got like 1,000 horror scripts. I said, I want to write one, okay?
Right.
So I wrote a spec script. I said, what can I do to make it different? Everybody's got zombies and apocalyptic stuff and all stuff. So I combined 3 genres: religion, erotica, and horror. And so I sent it to this renowned LA studio, and they called me, and they said, "Look, we don't do horror, but we like your writing. Would you write for us?" So I said, "Yeah, sure, what the heck." I did 4 scripts for them. One of them, we changed, okay? It's called Intimate Neighbors. Because we work with them, you got to have sexual themes and all this stuff. He said, "Let's take out some of the sex and make more character." He said, "This is a sexy, upbeat American beauty." So I changed the name to American Cutie, okay? And he tried to get it as a limited release. Didn't fall through management, but I still own it. And then here, from the classics. Another story I did, the classics. I did a short script called Reunited, where we bring back Persephone and Hades from the ancient Hellenic story. We put them in a present-day cafe and they meet again. And here we go, bang, you know, because they loved each other, yet they hated each other. And then Speakeasy Cafe, best friend of mine, sends me a picture from Joliet, McDonough Street Bridge. Well, on the east side of McDonough Street Bridge, there's this building, which is in the bottom corner of the frame that he sent me on this picture. Down, there's a basement steps, because Illinois, they got basements. There's basement steps that go down. And I used to pick up my dad there. The old timers would, you know, they'd gamble, they'd shoot pool, they'd play Greek pinochle poker and all this stuff. So I go down there and pick up my dad. And we're going up the steps, and my dad's laughing. He said, hey, I used to have a speakeasy down there back in the Depression days. Mm-hmm. So I go home and I write a script after my friend sends me this picture where the son picks up the father gambling in this old, warm, torn little cafe down in this basement. And they go up the steps, and the doors close. And you see the light comes out. Twilight Zone kind of thing. The cafe's rocking in the speakeasy days of the Depression.
Wow.
So stories are everywhere.
Yes, they are. Those were some amazing stories.
Writers always got stories.
Amazing stories.
We'll make one up.
And you know, you mentioned one that I know about because I worked on it with you. If loving you is wrong. Tell our audience about that. I mean, I'm sure everyone's heard that song.
Oh yeah.
But tell us about that story.
The son of the father who did that song, Luther Ingram, his son, me and him hooked up. He was in Atlanta at the time. And so he was wanting to do something about his dad's music. Luther Ingram was a great artist, but unbeknownst to most people, he was a terrific songwriter. Mm. That song was released May 3rd. My mother was born May 3rd. Different year, 1972. That song came out. I was graduating from high school in 1972. So I right away felt a
connection there.
Yeah, connection with Luther on that. And I said, you know, let me write this script, you know. And in music, you tell your story in 3 minutes. That's how songs go usually in music, okay? And even the rappers, they got stories. Mm-hmm. That guy who got shot, Tupac, mm-hmm. That guy was phenomenal, okay? So anyway, in my mind, he was a brilliant artist, a very intelligent man. It's a shame he got shot like he did. But anyway, me and Luther connected on it. And so when I sent that script out, a producer on 4 Academy Award Best Pictures, he said, Yanni, this is so well written, it directs itself. So I wanted to do the stage play version. Mm-hmm. See me, I do things in reverse. A lot of guys like Tyler Perry, they start with a stage play and they write a screenplay. Well, you got to build that up. Mm. Me, if I write the stage play, I just got to throw people off the bus and narrow it down to a stage play. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. And the audience liked it. And you played an integral part. That scene you played, you were the mediator mm-hmm. between the married couple and the mistress. Right. So you were kind of like the director of what was going on in that scene. Right. And I really liked how you handled that. You did it very well. You paced it very well. Yeah. And I would love to do that again. Yes. You know?
That was, I mean, the music, everything about that mm-hmm. was just amazing. I really loved. I mean, you know what? Music tells a story in itself. Yep. Then when you have the actors acting it out, I mean, it's just amazing. That shouldn't go unseen again.
Well, we'll work and getting it together again.
Yes, yes.
I'm going to put you in a bigger room, make you a producer.
What has been one of your most memorable things that you've written this far?
Well, I like my current one I'm on, Joliet. I wrote it as a feature, but there's so much to it that I made it a 5-episode limited series about this woman, reporter in the 40s and 50s, who is obsessed with bringing down the outfit boss who killed her mentor. Mm. And she's just that's a true story based, crime. And she's just incredible. So that's really one of my favorites right now. If Loving You Is Wrong mm-hmm. was another one. So, Blue Rose, I like it, sex trafficking, which is totally different. This one lady did 50 films. She said, I see sex trafficking scripts all the time, but you really did it from a unique angle. So, you know, every story as a writer, every story hits you different.
Do you see? It seems like that's a big topic right now, sex trafficking. Mm-hmm. Are you seeing a lot of scripts on that right now?
Well, there's a lot out there. I mean, you know, you can go out there and see a ton of scripts on them, but usually they're all the same. You know, that's why this lady liked mine, because I took it a different angle. I made the mother teaching the daughter the music, and they're close together, and it's the daughter who saves herself, not somebody coming in and saving her, and the daughter's determined to get back on that stage.
You seem to, from what I know, music is attached. Yeah. Were you a musician or?
My brother was a great trumpet player. He played, Joliet is renowned for its music. Matter of fact, in my series called Joliet, about that woman reporter, I got bits in there about the Joliet Museum. I mean, Lionel Richie went to high school where I did his last year. All kinds of great musicians come out of Joliet. So music was always with me, but I wasn't any good at it. I mean, I can't even sing in the shower.
Well, at least you admit to it.
Yeah. My brother was a great trumpet player, though. I mean, Archie McAllister, John Philip Sousa, he used John Philip Sousa's horn that he gave Archie. I mean, it goes on. They won the national title 30 years in a row. They're like surgeons, where the difference in winning a national title is 1/100th of a point.
Do you prefer not to direct?
Yeah, I don't like directing per se. You're kind of caught in the crosshairs because you're dealing with the actors. You're the maestro on the set, you know, and if you didn't write the script, you got to know how to interpret it right. And then also you got the producers above you. So you got actors here, you got writers here, you got producers there, and there you are, caught in the crosshairs. And that's why.
And when we did If Loving You It's Wrong, you were working with a lot of different levels of people.
Yes.
Even with the family members of Mr. Ingram.
Right.
So you were dealing with a lot of people at that point. Yeah. So I can imagine it would be hard to direct and playing all those roles.
Yeah, and what I like to do, because the guy who told me it's so well written, it practically directs itself. He's in 4 Academy Award Best Pictures. And 2 are nominated. He won Cable A. So his word, when he said that to me, I was like floored. But anyway, he told me he did a good job. And what I did was, I like collaboration. You know, some people are very authoritarian, all this kind of stuff. I'm not like that. Right. My mother wasn't like that. Okay. And so I like to get people's input. Well, how do you see this? Right. Where do you want to go with it? And then if we keep it in the confines of the scene, of the construction of the scene, of what those actors need to deliver to move that story forward, I give those actors freedom. Right. Because if you try to change somebody, what's them going to do? And that's when they want to break out of the chains.
Even though you don't prefer directing, the teaching part is so pivotal with you, and I see it. I mean, one of the actresses who was very new, a novice on your set, you brought that character out of her. She was our lead, actually.
Oh, the female girl?
Yeah, that was
since she can't sing.
Yeah. But you brought that character because we saw that character after that, after you working with her.
Oh,
thank you. I mean, I don't know if that helped, but she's out there performing and going from state to state.
Oh,
she's doing a lot in her life right now.
That's great, because she was very nervous.
Yeah, she was.
And she reminded me of me growing up in the sense that talk 100 miles an hour. So I said, girl, if that's a red light, you blew it. Yeah. You know, you got to slow it down. Remember I told her? You got to slow it down. That was her main.
And she had some.
Slow it down.
She was shy, and she had some things going on. And she's. If I'm gonna send you a picture of her now. She's like changed her look, and
oh really?
Yeah,
she was gorgeous.
Yeah, but she's changed her look. You'll notice some things different. Do you have a specific genre that you prefer to write in?
No, I don't, because I don't look at scripts by genre. I look at scripts by story. Okay, within that story, what are the characters? Okay, what are the scenes? Where's the arc of the scene? Where's the overall arc, beginning, middle, end? Where's the story structure? So when I look at a script, I look at that, and I look at the dialogue techniques. Are they using dialogue techniques? what is the exposition? How are they writing that exposition? How much is on that page? Because you go by the stage, there's an old saying in stage, if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. So you better know how to write your expo. You see some guys will, oh, geez, they don't know what to do. Well, that's poor writing. If you get a script and you don't know what to do, that ain't a good script.
What advice, with that being said, what advice would you give to a aspiring screenwriter?
Keep writing. Keep writing. I mean, if your idea is to be a writer, I mean, you see these guys nowadays, they're slashers. Producer, director, writer, actor, whatever. Okay, fine. That's fine. I'm not knocking that. But if your focus is to be a writer, keep writing. Because when you write without hope, nothing going on, nobody buying anything, but you keep writing, it's forged forever. Okay? You're an indomitable spirit. You're a writer. No one could beat you because you could do that.
Well, when you initially started, you mentioned all these people that said that you were a great writer. So that was putting you on the right track at that moment without you having to be out there searching to find out
what your
niche is, because you were already enjoying writing. But with some people, we're all over the place, yeah. And we can't learn or get proficient in one area because we're trying to be the director, the producer, the actor, the this and the that, and not for sure about which area we're really comfortable in or want to be in.
You're right. And friends of mine, I've had a few friends, they wanted me to act in some stuff. And I remember what a good friend of mine went through. He was taught by Adler and Strasberg themselves. He was the best actor I've seen. He intimidated Patrick Duffy on the movie Enola Gay. Dave Colosimo was that great. And he always wanted me to get into acting. But when I seen the hell he went through, I said, man. And plus, I can't even remember my own lines that I write. How am I going to remember somebody else's lines?
It was such a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you.
Where can our audience find you?
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm on Facebook, Ioannis Skiotes on Facebook, on that other social media, LinkedIn.
Okay.
Now, if you go to Instagram, you're just going to see my panda bears. You ain't going to see anything else.
Well, thank you for joining us today. It was such a pleasure, such a joy hearing your stories.
Hey, thanks.
And thank you for joining us, and we will catch you next time on Desertwood Days.